Good morning, everybody. Hey, who has 2 thumbs and 10,000 YouTube subscribers? Oh, God! The following comments are taken from editions of Mail Call printed in the Herald Mail from April 1st to April 12th, 2013, which can be read online in their entirety at www.herald-mail.com. First up from Hagerstown. If these congressmen and the senators don't have guts enough or courage enough to pass a gun law because they're scared of their jobs, then I think maybe what should happen is the governors of each state should pass their own gun laws, and I'm all for it. And I'll tell you one thing, these guys that don't pass that gun law, if I'm around, I'll never vote for them again. My whole family won't. My state of Maryland just passed new gun control laws. I think it's great, but the problem with gun control at the state level is other states. Yes, Maryland now has some really good gun laws, but West Virginia is right over there with virtually no regulation of guns at the state level to speak of. Unless you have gun control legislated at the federal level so that it applies nationwide, even the strictest and most rigorously enforced state gun control laws are only going to do so much good. There are just too many holes in the net. In fact, without federal laws, there really is no net. There's just a bunch of people standing around trying to catch falling shit with their bare hands. This is for minor people for minor offenses. Drunk drivers, people selling dope, people speeding from the police should not be sent to prisons, which are crowded. They should set up a labor camp, a hard labor camp, where they work 6 10-hour days. One TV, no cell phones, nothing. They clean up roadways, they clean up anybody's house that wants to be cleaned up, and that includes stream beds and such. I think this would take care of a lot of it. Charlestown, West Virginia. Dude, just suck it up and clean your own house. Why do we have to support foreign countries? We're in bad shape ourselves. What is wrong with our president and our Congress and our senators? All they think about is their own self. They don't care about the poor people. Gas goes up. And we need to build a gallows and put a rope and hang those people that want to kill people. That'll put a stop to it. Hagerstown. Okay, let me see if I've got this straight. The President and the Congress need to stop being so selfish, which is why they need to end foreign aid. And we need to build a gallows to hang people who want to kill people, which will put a stop to the President and the Congress not caring about poor people and will also lower the price of gas. Oh! There's something else you forgot to mention. It will also help ease unemployment because gallows don't build themselves. I'd just like to say that I think a movie theater, a nice movie theater with a nice snack bar, you know, maybe you could get a hot dog, bag of popcorn or something like that, would be a good asset to the downtown. I know I'd go to the movies before I'd probably go to a baseball game, and it seems like it wouldn't be that difficult or that expensive to put a nice movie theater in town. It would bring some people from the surrounding areas to the downtown area to take in a movie on a Saturday or a Sunday or during the week. Hagerstown. Got a time machine? Because if so, you can go back to, let's say, 50 years ago, when it was entirely possible to take in a first-run movie, popcorn and all, in Hagerstown. And if your time machine's big enough, maybe you could even bring a few friends back there with you so that those movie theaters would sell some more tickets and maybe they wouldn't go out of business because people figured out that you could put movie theaters in shopping malls and cineplexes outside of town, and there's just a lot more room, they're easier to get to, more space for parking, and the movie-going experience would be a hell of a lot more enjoyable because it's not immediately preceded by a trip to Hagerstown. To the caller who was criticizing Republicans at the CPAC here last week, well, if that isn't the pot calling the kettle black when you criticize the Republicans' rhetoric, when the Democratic battle cry for years has been, we need more revenue and tax and spend. They've been doing this since old Slick Willie was in office, and they'll continue to do it as long as they're in power. Hagerstown. When old Slick Willie was in office, you mean when the economy was booming and the military wasn't deployed to invade 2 countries simultaneously? Oh, and the federal budget was running on a surplus? Yes, how grateful we all should be to have survived those dark days. In the paper, I agree with the citizen from Hagerstown who said the welfare system should be examined nationally. I agree with you. Also, it should be examined locally. My husband is near 80 and I'm in my 80s. We both have several severe medical problems and are both disabled. We live on small Social Security checks. We went to social services about food stamps. They said we were $10 over the limit and could not receive them. A lady about 35, she had 5 small children and a daughter about 15 with a small infant. They were there for food stamps, and they received them. Hagerstown. So because you were perhaps unfairly denied benefits, that mother of 6 should have been denied benefits as well? Is that what you're suggesting? You don't know that woman's story. You don't know what her needs were. Philosophically, what you're doing to her is even worse than what that social worker who denied your benefits did to you. At least the social worker was able, presumably, to examine your records to make some factual assessment of your situation and come to a decision on that basis. You're just lashing out at someone else because you feel you've been wronged. Look, I'm sorry for your situation. I hope you get the help you need, but you sound like an asshole. I moved to Hagerstown almost a year ago. Since then, people here have made nasty comments to me. While walking my dog, a man demanded I clean up after him when he hadn't done anything yet. Another time, my life was threatened while smoking outside. Then, while crossing the street at my designated wait signal, cars honked and the person yelled at me to exit faster. And kudos to the man commenting on the trash. Here in Hagerstown, it's horrendous. Have I moved to a bad area and county? Hagerstown. Yeah. Fuck, I just told an 80-something-year-old disabled lady, still smarting from her and her husband being denied food stamps, that she sounded like an asshole. And I'm one of the good ones. The sign says, "Welcome to Maryland. Let me count the ways. Flush tax, VEIP inspection, tax on food and clothing, increased tax on vehicle registration, gays welcome, criminals will have all the guns, murderers all welcome, increased tax on gas, Maryland tax on retirement, tax on Maryland tax refund." My sign says, "Goodbye, Maryland, and thank God for U-Haul because I'm moving out. Clear Spring. Don't forget to pay the exit tax." There is an exit tax. There's got to be. In Maryland? In answer to Hagerstown, who questioned why conservatives want women to get sonograms before abortions and are against abortion, I would offer this. We deem life sacred, especially among our most vulnerable. The baby in a womb is not a mass of tissue, as some would have you believe, but a living human being. Sonograms prove this. The Constitution guarantees us life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The guarantee of life should include children who have not yet been born. Smithsburg. I think the "we hold life sacred" claim would be treated with a bit more respect if more conservatives acted like they gave a shit about the lives of people who have left the womb. If the lives of other people are truly sacred to you, shouldn't you care as much about the quality of those lives as you care about the bare fact that they exist? Finally, from Hagerstown, Thursday, April 4, someone called in and said these morbid people drive around with morbid obituaries on their rear car windows. This person is so cruel. Obviously, they've never lost a loved one. If I want to put a picture of my loved one and the date they were born and the date they died and a small saying on my vehicle that I pay for and pay for tags and taxes and all, just the same as if I want to paint it purple, this person is a horrible, mean person. Obviously, they've never lost a loved one? How'd they manage that? Is there a trick to it? Because if there is, I would love for somebody to teach me. Look, nobody is suggesting that you shouldn't be allowed to have one of these so-called rolling tombstones on your car if you want one. Someone just called in and shared their opinion that these things are kind of morbid. And morbid can mean diseased, but it can also mean to be preoccupied with dark, unsavory things. And in that second sense, I agree. I think memorials on car windows are morbid. I don't think that's a cruel thing to say. Of course, I also think that they're tacky and tasteless, but I don't see how that's cruel either. It's just kind of rude. And I can live with that. Oh, hey, check it out. It's healing up really nice. Thanks for watching.